Hello, I'll start doing the 242 valid anagram. So given two strings s and t and return true if t is an anagram of s and false otherwise. An anagram is a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of a different word or phrase, typically using all the original letters exactly once. So s and t have the exact same amount of a's, n, G, and R and M. So anagram has three A's, and this variable T also have three, one, two, and three A's. One N, one G, one R, and one M. So if it's an anagram, because they have the same amount of letters, it needs to return true. Example 2, they are not anagrams because the first variable rat ends with a T and car doesn't have it. So in this case, it needs to return false. So my approach will be creating a dictionary first. I'll create a dictionary and the values will be char and integer. I will call my dictionary and it will be equal to new dictionary. I have my char and int. Okay, I have my dictionary ready. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add to my dictionary the letter here in the char data type. So for example, I'm going to add a in char data type. How many a's does anagram have? Have 3. N 1, G 1, R 1, M 1. So I'm gonna start with a for loop. It's going to iterate through the s variable, the length of the s variable. So what I need to do is I'm going to start an if statement. So if my dictionary contains key of what? Contains key that is s I. So if it contains this a, for example, what I want to do is to call my dictionary again, and I'm going to be, is it add? No, I don't need to add here. I need to get the key, which is, this is how I get the value, but how I get the value with the key. And I'm going to say plus equal 1. So I'm going to add 1 to the value of this key. Okay? Else, I will be calling my dictionary again, and I'm going to add the first key would be the value itself, and then I'm going to set it to 1. So the first iteration, this if statement will not run, and it will go through this else statement. So it will get my dictionary, it will be adding this value here. So for variable s, the first letter is a, so it's going to set it by 1. And then the next loop, if my dictionary contains the next letter it will be adding it by 1, but it doesn't contain, so I'm gonna run the else statement again. Okay, n will be added instead to 1, and then the next a, okay, run the loop again. This if statement will be true because my dictionary contains key of a already. So what I'm going to do is to add +1 to the value. So now until here, now a will be 2, and so on. So I'm good with my first for loop. Now I'm going through my second for loop. So in this case will be t length, which is the next variable. Okay, now again I need to I need to write an if statement. So if my dictionary contains key of what? Of this key, so for the next value, so what's going to do basically the same, but it's going to reduce by 1, decrease by 1. My dictionary ti, and then minus equal to 1, else. So if it doesn't contain this key, we can assume that it's not an anagram. Okay, let's look at example 2. So S is equal to rat and T is equal to car. So they are pretty much the same. R has R, A has A. But what about when we reach to this T? Okay, so letter S will be added, variable S will be added to the dictionary, and then when car is checking if these values are in variable S, it goes through the first one, which is C, that doesn't have, so this will not be true because it doesn't have C. So else, we can assume that it's not an anagram, so we return false. We're almost good here. I just want to add an edge case, which is if S length is different to T length, so it's going to return false. So if they are different, so if this has 3 letters and this has 4 letters, for example, of course, for sure it's not an anagram. And I have my 2 for loops here. I need a last step because until now my program is only returning false. So what happens is everything like this goes right, this for loop goes right, and this finish decreasing by 1. So what's gonna happen next? What is going to happen, I will have to create, I will do this a for each loop. So I will need to check if my dictionary values are all zeros. If they're all zeros, I need to return true. So I'm going to do it by calling this key value pair. It's like this, yes. And I have a char integer. I'm going to call it dict in dict my dictionary. So if what? If dict, so I'm going to access the key here. Okay, if dict, let me think, value, because I call this key value pair, I can access the value property. Dict value is different than 0, so return false. because he needs to be 0 for me to return true. So if, okay, now I'm returning everything 0 here. So at the end of my program, I'm gonna say return true. So if every value in my dictionary is 0, this will not be true, so it will run this part of the code. So it will be returning true. But if there's something there, some value in my dictionary that is not 0, okay, is not 0, it'll be returning false. So let's run this. Good. Submit. Awesome.